Thanks for checking out this retro video game review of Captain Planet and the Planeteers. As you might expect, the video game is based on the 1990s cartoon series produced by Ted Turner. The show lasted 113 episodes and was well received. The show was designed as, quote, edutainment and was supposed to teach kids about the virtues of environmentalism. The show followed five teenagers who were given powers from Gaia, voiced by Whoopi Goldberg, to fight the evils of pollution and other eco-villains. When the Planeteers were overwhelmed, they could combine their powers to summon Captain Planet. I absolutely loved this show when I was younger. It had elements of superheroes, action, and although I didn't know them at the time, it had some famous voice actors as well. With such great source material, how could the game be bad, right? Well, they found a way. When I first got started with the game, I was surprised to find that it was a side-scrolling shooter. But the controls were clunky, and when I started, I died very easily. Not unsurprising as this is my first time playing this game, but as I put a little more time into the game, I began to realize that something was up. According to other sources I read, the game is broken into 5 levels, each with 2 parts, one as a side-scroller and the other as a platformer, but I couldn't swear to that because I never got far enough to prove this. First of all, one of the few ties to the series was that you could switch between 5 attacks based on Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, and Heart to take on enemies. However, it was difficult to switch between the weapons, and what I quickly realized is that there were only 3 attacks that were actually functional. Now, you could actually argue that Heart being a worthless attack would actually be true to the series. After all, Heart was the lamest superpower ever. But both Heart and the water attacks had no effect on enemies. I didn't play long enough to find out if there was some deeper meaning for them or other use later, but through the levels that I got through, there was no value in the Heart or the Wind attacks, as they didn't affect enemies. The mechanics of the gameplay were less than desirable as well. The Planeteer ship fires very slowly, especially compared to the enemies, and doesn't move fast enough to avoid some of the enemy attacks. There is a function that allows you to turn around in the game, but it wasn't very helpful other than in a few situations that it could be used to gain additional space when fighting against a base. Sometimes it looked like you would have plenty of space to clear the obstacles, and then all the Planeteers would die horribly in a fireball. I have played other side-scrolling shooters like Gradius, but I've never played one this tough. The power-ups are much more difficult to get than in Gradius and in other shooters, and they're not as effective in taking out the enemies. With the clunky controls and unbalanced firepower, it didn't leave me with a fun feeling. Also, the music was terrible and quickly began to feel like a taunt from programmers who were just messing with the gamers. I wanted to try out some other parts of the game to see if there were some redeeming qualities. I looked up the level codes online and tried out some of the other levels. I didn't put as much time into them, but found them to be just as frustrating. I got killed by trees, invisible enemies, and obstacles hidden in tunnels that you couldn't see. Playing the levels as Captain Planet were a little bit more enjoyable, but they were confusing and offered little direction for users. In both the side-scrolling levels and the Captain Planet levels, there is an energy bar, which, on a side note, how surprising that is that in a shooter based on an eco-friendly game, kids are encouraged to conserve their energy instead of taking out all of the enemies. This bar could quickly run out and would effectively end your life as you had no other option other than to die so that your energy bar could be refreshed. So I wasn't very happy with the game, and then it hit me. Maybe I was thinking about this game all wrong. The point of Captain Planet is to be eco-friendly and to end hate and violence. Maybe the real point was that kids shouldn't play violent video games, and fighting is not the answer. When I started hiding my Planeteer plane in the corner and spamming the Earth attacks, which is the lamest lob of a rock, it was a little bit easier to make it through the levels. See, kids, fighting is not the answer. Isn't this fun? Then it really got meta, and I think I had a breakthrough. A major message of the show was that we should be eco-friendly and care for the environment. I'm sure they would have been pro-eco-friendly videos and would love for their viewers to have been buying electric cars by now. And while this is great for the environment, they wanted their kids to know electric cars are great, but don't be dumb and get in a fight with a diesel truck or the oil companies. They just can't compare. So maybe it's that the Planeteer ship was just an electric vehicle and didn't have the firepower that the other vehicles would have. So there you have it, kids. Well played, Mindscape. You effectively created a lesson about the dangers and difficulties of being eco-friendly and disguised it as a lame video game. So jokes aside, this definitely was not my favorite NES game and definitely not my favorite side-scrolling shooter. I would definitely recommend a game like Gradius. However, if you were a fan of the Captain Planet show like I was, there is some fun that you can get out of it just by playing with at least the powers of Captain Planet. And like I said, the Captain Planet levels are actually much better and they are a little bit fun. They're still confusing, but I think if I put some more time into it, they would be fun. So overall, not giving this the highest rating, but I'm still glad I picked it up for my collection because I did have fun playing with it, even if it was almost laughing at kind of what it had created. But anyways, that's Captain Planet and the Planeteers. That was my take on it. If you've played this game, let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts were on the video. Or if you have any tips, maybe I'm just missing something about the game that I need to go back and try. If there's a way to redeem it, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe, hit the bell for more retro video game reviews, and we will see you next time. Thanks.